Downtown clubbing, ladies' night. Seen Shorty, she was crazy, right?
Listen to my homeboy Santana.
With the, I'm telling ya, got the booty up in the suitcase. So go uptown to Harlem.
There it go, bring it here, baby. Come on. There it go, bring it here, baby. Come on.
I'm Mr. Postman, also Mr. Man, oh man.
This is the Dipset, man. This wouldn't be nothing without none of us, bro. At the end of the day, and that's what people gotta understand.
Raised in a tough neighborhood, but instead of letting that hold him down, Juelz Santana flipped the script and found his safe haven in music. Yeah, he took all those challenges, those hurdles, and turned them into stepping stones that led him straight to stardom. The guy turned struggle into swagger and made it look easy. Now his real name, LaRon Lewis James. But let's be honest, Juelz Santana sounds way cooler, too cool for the government to handle. Born on February 18, 1982, right in the heart of Harlem, New York, a place known for crime, chaos, and poverty.
Harlem was such a small place, but it was such a big place. And I say that because the influence and the impact that we've had.
But despite all that madness, Juelz stood out like a unicorn in a sea of horses. Harlem's got this rich history that shaped hip-hop forever. And Juelz soaked it all up, made it his own, and turned that energy into fire bars. You know what's wild? Juelz is a twin. Yeah, two for the price of one, but even in a family of two, his story shines bright. Raised in a tight-knit family where love was real and loud, Juelz was surrounded by people who showed him what loyalty and passion meant from a young age. By the time he was just 13 years old, this kid was already spitting bars like he'd been doing it all his life.
When I started rapping, I think I started rapping around the age of 13, 14.
No joke, he was killing it so early, he couldn't wait to hit the big stage. That's not just talent, that's hunger. At that young age, he formed a duo called Draft Pick with another rapper. And their sound, man, it was so fresh and raw that people were wondering, who are these kids dropping bars where they own the game? Word traveled fast. Priority Records came knocking, begging for their signatures.
We formed a group called Draft Pick, and we actually had a deal. We were signed to Priority Records, man.
They signed the deal, which might not have made them instant stars, but it gave Juelz a solid lesson on how the music business really works. You don't get a VIP pass to this game overnight, and Priority gave him that backstage pass early on. But the music biz is a jungle, and Juelz needed a ladder to climb up. Enter Cam'ron, a fellow Harlem native and an East Coast hip-hop heavyweight with clout, connections, and experience. Cam'ron saw the raw talent and took Juelz under his wing, becoming his mentor and collaborator. In 2000, Juelz featured on Cam'ron's album SDE, marking his first big break.
I wound up being on 2 songs on Cam's next album, which is Sports, Drugs, Entertainment, SDE, and All the Chickens Go Club.
This collab opened doors, bringing Juelz to the attention of a wider hip-hop crowd and helping him build street cred. Then came the big move. Juelz officially joined the Diplomats, aka Dipset, the crew founded by Cam'ron and Jim Jones. Dipset wasn't just a group, they were a whole vibe with their slang, fashion, and gritty lyrics. They brought a swagger and style that nobody else had at the time. Being part of Dipset was like getting front row seats to the rise of one of hip-hop's most influential crews. Juelz watched, learned, and sharpened his skills, soaking in the spotlight and industry connections that came with it. Dipset was wild, loud, and raw, and Juelz fit right in. They weren't just making music, they were making culture. Their slang, the way they dressed, their attitude, it all resonated. If you were into hip-hop in the early 2000s, Dipset was everywhere. And Juelz, he was quietly becoming a star in his own right. While Dipset was blowing up, Juelz was quietly cooking up his solo career. By 2003, he dropped his debut album, From Me to You. Now, this album didn't explode like some expected. It wasn't a commercial smash. But here's the thing. It found a loyal fan base who loved his streetwise lyrics, catchy hooks, and that unmistakable Harlem swag. It wasn't about radio hits at first. It was about respect and loyalty from the streets. And that's the foundation money can't buy. Instead of letting that slow him down, that lukewarm reception lit a fire in him to push harder. Juelz was obsessed with success. He wanted it bad. He wasn't going to be the guy who came close and stopped. He started collaborating with some of the biggest names in hip-hop, riding their waves and making his own splash. Remember Cameron's hits, Oh Boy,
Or your man stand, don't hit me when you wanna get rammed in. I be scrambling.
and Hey Ma?
Hand creeping up her left side, I'm ready to do it. Ready to bone, ready for dome.
Juelz was right there, riding those waves to the top of the charts. These tracks weren't just hits, they were anthems, and Juelz's verses were a big part of that. They brought him into the mainstream, but still kept his street credibility intact. And Juelz wasn't just sticking to East Coast rap. He showed off his versatility by hopping on Chris Brown's debut single, Run It.
Make it drop, honey. Make it pop, honey. Whip, wop, tick, tock to the...
That was a smart move. He proved he could adapt and appeal to a wider audience beyond hardcore hip-hop heads. It was a sign he was thinking bigger, aiming higher. Then came 2005, and Juelz was not playing games. His second album, What the Game Been Missing, was a game changer. Tracks like There It Go, the Whistle Song,
Hey, girl, you make my whistle.
and Mic Check
The rap I lead, jab I weave, then come back with the same jab times 3.
weren't just hits, they were everywhere. You couldn't go anywhere without hearing that whistle. This album had the perfect mix, radio-friendly beats with real lyrical skill. It brought in critical praise and serious commercial success, cementing him as a major player in the industry. That album changed everything. It showed the world that Juelz wasn't just a Dipset sidekick, he was a solo star. The album had swagger, energy, and a fresh sound that hip-hop heads and mainstream fans both loved. It was a soundtrack for parties, car rides, and late nights. Suddenly, Juelz was everywhere. But you know how the story goes. The higher you climb, the harder the fall. Just as the sun started shining bright on Juelz's career, dark clouds started rolling in. And these weren't small clouds, they were storms. In 2011, things took a serious turn. Police raided the studio Juelz was working in, finding illegal drugs and firearms.
When they raided my studio for the bullshit that they raided my studio for,
That raid wasn't just a headline, it was a full stop.
I got my computers back, but when I got my hard drives back, it was zero music on my hard drives.
Legal trouble followed, charges piled up, and Juelz's music career hit a rough patch. When you get tangled up in the law like that, it's hard to bounce back, especially when the industry starts treating you like a liability. That raid cast a long shadow over Juelz. It wasn't just about the legal stuff. It was about reputation. The music industry can be brutal when someone falls from grace. Collaborations dry up, labels hesitate, and fans start wondering if the guy they loved is done. But Juelz isn't the type to quit. He kept pushing, kept fighting. Then in 2018, the drama hit again. Juelz was arrested at Newark Liberty International Airport because authorities found an unregistered firearm on him.
Yes, I had a fucking gun in my house. I grabbed the wrong bag. I went to the airport.
This arrest wasn't just another story. It led to jail.
I'm not used to jail time. I've been there a couple times.
For a guy trying to climb back up, this was a serious setback. His career momentum stalled, and fans were left waiting for new music that never seemed to come. And here's a bit that gets emotional. His family was deeply affected. His mother, Deborah James, went as far as putting up her house for sale just to help get him out on bail. That's some real sacrifice, showing how much love and belief his family had in him, despite everything. These legal battles kept Juelz out of the spotlight for a while. The music slowed down, public appearances became rare, and it felt like the man was fading away. But true fans stayed loyal, waiting for him to bounce back. Even with all this, Juelz's work never lost its shine. He got recognition from the BET Awards and Billboard Music Awards, top charts, and maintained a massive fan base. And trust me, no trophy can beat the kind of love he has from his fans, the kind of devotion that money can't buy.
Outside the music, Juelz's life is more than just bars and beats.
On January 10, 2019, he married his longtime girlfriend Kimbella Vanderhee, a model and reality TV star.
So yes, all these other bull, you know what I'm saying?
Their story is a classic roller coaster. They started dating in 2009, faced ups and downs like any couple, but made it official with a memorable engagement at a Dipset show at the Apollo Theater in 2018. Now they're raising 3 beautiful kids, 2 boys and a girl, building that family life while juggling the fame and drama. Despite the struggles, Juelz never lost that fire. He's been quietly working on his comeback. Right now, he's prepping a new album called We in Motion, a collaboration with DJ Drama. And this isn't just any album. This one's backed by heavy hitters: Def Jam, Diplomat Records, Generation Now, and MNRK Music Group. The guest list alone has names like Rowdy Rebel, Deja Loaf, Joyner Lucas, Doll Baby, and Lil Wayne. It's clear Juelz is aiming to bridge his classic sound with today's hip-hop trends, keeping it fresh and relevant. On top of music, Juelz has also stepped into entrepreneurship. He launched his own label. It started as a joint project with Lil Wayne, but turned into a platform for new talent: Ski, Caesar, and even Juelz's nephew Young Ja. The label isn't just about music. It's involved in fashion and cannabis too. Juelz is showing the world he's more than just a rapper. He's a businessman. About that Lil Wayne collab album, also called I Can't Feel My Face, Juelz recently opened up about it, revealing that label drama between Def Jam and Universal Music Group kills the project. But here's the juicy part. There are still unreleased tracks, and Juelz hasn't given up hope on bringing it back someday. At 43, Juelz Santana is aging like a fine wine. His net worth sits at about $1 million, built from his Dipset days, solo career, and business ventures. When you want that artist who carries Harlem's soul in his veins and spits bars that tell real stories, don't sleep on Juelz Santana. He's got scars, stories, and bars that prove one thing: he's still in motion, still rising, and still the same guy who turned struggle into swagger.